I'm Carol Wheel, and I'm a lead teacher in English and ICT at Dane Court Grammar School.
My name's Karen McWilliam. I am English teacher at Dane Court Grammar School, and this is our team teaching lesson on Shakespeare. Hands up. What's iambic pentameter?
It's where you have a weak syllable, then a strong syllable.
Good. And why is it called pentameter? What's special about the number? You may.
There's 10 syllables in
Good.
each.
So it's 5 pairs of syllables. 1 weak, 1 stressed. What we did with the lesson was we actually approached Shakespeare by way of iambic pentameter to give Year 9 pupils a first look at how Shakespeare works and how to actually approach the text. They had 2 contrasting characters. We had Puck from A Midsummer Night's Dream and Macbeth, obviously from Macbeth. And the idea was that pupils actually went through and looked at what rhythm was being used in each of these verses, how the syllables broke down, and then trying to see how that was then reflected into the character's emotional state. If I told you that where the full stops come represents how the character feels, what do you think? How do you think Puck feels?
He's sort of like straight-minded. He knows what he's talking about and he's explaining it to someone.
Good. Rochelle, tell me, Macbeth's full stops all over the page. How do you think he's feeling?
I think that he's probably quite angry, but like short, because he's used short, abrupt sentences. Good. So that all the full stops are in the middle of the page.
Good. Now they are working out how many syllables are on each line and plotting it on a graph, and hopefully they should find that Macbeth's speech is actually quite erratic and the syllables move up and down across the page, whereas Puck's is much more regulated. So just looking at sentence structure and the number of syllables on a page, they're already starting to get a little bit of the emotion behind the speech and what's going on with the characters without even having to look at any of the language within the text.
Are you finding that it's nice and even, like the Puck one?
Where's the syllables are a little bit all over the place.
Yeah. We're team teaching, so Karen's leading the lesson, but my role really is to support her and my class to help discipline, because obviously there's quite a few characters here who need a bit more support than normal, and also to add an extra dimension in the teaching process, because I'll have different ideas and my students also have a different approach because they've done something beforehand that's different to her classes.
What does Macbeth's graph look like? George?
It's like all over the place.
It's all over the place. OK, what do you think that means is going on inside his head?
He's probably upset or angry by something, like he's missing something, or maybe he's giving up something.
Yeah, he's interrupting himself, isn't he? He's here, there and everywhere. Something comes into his head, then something else comes into his head, then something else. OK. Rochelle?
I think he has a lot of mixed emotions at the time, and that's why his thoughts have shown a pattern of, like, being everywhere.
He's here, there and everywhere. Good.
It's quite a risk, team teaching with somebody else, but Karen and I are incredibly similar in our teaching styles. We both like to take risks with our teaching and try out new ideas. We teach in a plaza which is getting increasingly familiar up and down the land. And it's a big wide space and there's nowhere to hide really, and normally there'd be a barrier between the 2 classes and we teach separately. But we thought, no, let's take the opportunity to teach in a more engaging style and involve a bigger group of people to see what comes out of it. So it was quite risky, but I think the rewards were immense.
Puck, what generally did we find? Yeah.
His graph is mostly on a straight line.
Good. What did you find?
I'd say he's probably quite calm and collected, but then has certain moments where he's a bit maybe excited.
Perfect. If I tell you that without looking at a single bit of language, you've captured exactly what's going on in each of those characters, how about that? You just analysed Shakespeare.
The boys were particularly engaged.
Yeah.
They were using their mathematical skills to plot it. So they were transferring skills from a different part of the curriculum into an English lesson, which they wouldn't normally do.
It's quite nice to learn about something that we might not always learn about. It's really interesting as well because some of the stories we can relate to some of today's like films and books.
It gives us like an insight to the past where we can't travel back in time, but we can at least try to understand what they thought.
We got a chance to all work together. So
Yeah.
In different forms.
yeah.
It shows that anybody, and we've got quite a mixed ability in there, and they could all access these very, very difficult texts because they had tools. It's a toolkit.
Yeah.